Namah Shivaya, beloveds, and it's time for gentle therapeutic yoga. And so please find your way onto your sticky mat. I encourage you to have a bolster, and if you don't have a bolster, fold blankets up to make a bolster for today's practice. Okay? So feeling our way into the yoga nest and sitting in the center of our circle. And as we arrive, perhaps the two palms press and the head bows as we take a moment to arrive at our own front door and settling ourselves in the body, in the mind, in the heart, allowing everything just a moment to seek the lowest level. And then feeling the honest story of your bones, the story of the heart, noticing the fluctuations of the mind, and using whatever is arriving to the surface of your awareness to be the raw material for perhaps a sacred intention, a sankalpa for your practice. Why are you here? Just taking a moment, if you will, to feel where you're needed, where your practice is needed, where your attention, your loving kindness is needed. Bowing to all of that. And then we simply use the sound of Om to send our sacred intentions out into the world. So, if you're so inspired, empty to fill. Inhaling your sweet intentions to each and every cell. Exhaling, may it be so. And as you begin to blink open the eyes, come into the awareness of the space around you, working your way onto your bolster on the right hip. So get your right hip up onto the bolster. And the further headward you are on the bolster, this is to say, the further up your hip is on the headward edge of the bolster, the more sincere the experience may be. And as you get your right hip on the bolster, allow there to be a gentle bend in your right knee, and then let your left leg go long. And the left leg is an extension of the entire trunk from the left shoulder to the left heel, all in alignment. And then the right arm, if your shoulder allows, the right arm goes long overhead if your shoulder allows. If your shoulder does not allow, modify as you need to. Bend your elbows, drop your shoulder down, get a pillow underneath your right ear if you need to. Remember, yoga is coming into union with what is so, from a place of loving kindness, being gentle with ourselves. Modifications are for heroes. And if you can, then stacking the entire body, the right arm is long, the left leg is long, and the body is as best it can be in one long plane. The left hand is in front of your body for support. You're nice and soft in the neck. And then once you've taken a little bit of effort to, as my dear friend Kathy Jackson says, push evil off the mat with your left foot, whatever evil means to you, maybe like COVID-19. Pushing off through this left foot, lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. So you want to ultimately feel the experience of this left hip just moving away from the left rib basket and opening up the left waist, opening up the lateral edge of the diaphragm, all the way down to the lateral edge of the hip. And then you just let this left leg hang. You let go of any and all effort from the left leg. And you soften. And you just allow gravity to be your friend, to do this for you. And we always start on the right side because we're emulating the way the food moves through the body. So from here, if you can, you're just guiding your breath from your right hip to your right shoulder to clear away any stagnation that you can from the ascending colon, the liver, the gallbladder. So nice, deep, three-part breathing, Dirga Swasam, guided from right hip to right shoulder. Be generous with the breath. Continue to soften in that left leg, release effort, let go, let gravity. If you ever feel this in your low back, just gently pull your navel towards your spine and spill your pelvic bowl backwards. A gentle posterior tilt of the pelvis will get you out of your low back. And then for those of you who are able and want to go into the full Monty, left arm comes alongside the left ear and the fingers interlace overhead. If you remember I Dream of Jeannie, it's like you're shimmying out of the bottle, right? And so only do this if it really works for your shoulders and you have absolute permission to be there. And then allow your last few breaths to be on the top side of the body. And really starting to feel the spaciousness from the left hip to the left arm dome. Just opening the lateral edge of the spine, the lung, the left ear of the heart. Last little bit of being incredibly generous with your breath. Dirga Swasam, filling the belly, the low chest, the upper chest, maybe a moment of retention at the top of the inhalation, and then exhaling from the upper chest, the lower chest, full exhalation, the navel moves towards the spine. And using our breath to clean house. So yoga without breath, it's kind of like sailing without wind. Technically, you're still sailing, you're still doing yoga, I guess, but you're definitely not maximizing the full potential of the experience. Alright, and then from here, if your left arm is overhead, release it in front of you. Find the support, and then slowly roll over bellyward. So rolling your left shoulder towards the floor. And then you're going to stay on the bolster and come into frog legs. So you're going to give a nice external rotation of your thighs, rolling the inner thigh towards the outer. And so you allow your inner knees to drop down towards the floor, the inner feet. And you want to find a way of being on the bolster where you're far enough back that your sacrum is really dropping down from the tailbone towards the floor. So the opportunity here is to get a little bit of traction in the SI joint. Yeah. And it's different for everybody where to be. But ultimately, you want to feel like the last 5 vertebrae, the sacrum, just moving down towards the tail. And this isn't, wowzer. It's a very gentle traction. So feel for it. And then just soften. Soften in the legs. Soften in the spine. Soften in the pelvis. And then be wherever it is your neck gives you permission to be. And this is to say, maybe you take your cheek to one side because your neck allows that. Or you stack your hands and rest your forehead on the back of stacked hands. Stay with the honesty of the moment and offer it your breath, your full awareness. Last few breaths here. Deep breath in. Deeper breath out. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Whatever it is, just soften, let it go. And then you're going to begin making your way onto second side, making your way onto the left hip. If you can, finding that nice long extension of the left arm overhead, putting yourselves between two sheets of glass, so to speak, so very narrow front to back. And if you can let that left arm go long overhead, it gives a nice little juicy stretch to the muscles around the base of the shoulder. And if you don't have permission, you modify as you need to. And you feel your way into second side, right leg going long, and then releasing effort from the right leg. And every so often, tilt that top hip forward and backward to see that you've found like, yeah, that's juicy. Your body will say, thank you, this is cool, this is good. Let me be here. And then you soften the right toes, soften the right ankle. Well done. Whenever your body is ready, if you want to interlace the right fingers with the left and go into the full experience, explore that, but don't hurry it. Don't be in a hurry on the yoga mat. It's the place where we come from a different source of motivation than we do out in the world. We come onto the yoga mat to really take a slow stroll through the garden of our being, and to really get present to what's going on in the body, the heart, the mind, and then create space around it all with the breath. Soft tongue, soft jaw, soft belly. And just feel whatever the shape is bringing your body. Stay with your felt sense of the experience. The mind will wander, and that's just the mind being the mind. You simply use sensation as your portal back into the now. Just noticing whatever it is the shape is bringing you and arriving through that doorway back into your body, back into your breath. Last few rounds of Dirghaswasam. Let them be incredibly generous. And then from here, begin rolling onto your back body. With as little effort as possible, come out gingerly. Coming out of this can be a little bit more honest than being in it. And as you make your way onto your back side, still have the bolster underneath your buttocks, but have it as low down on your buttocks as you can, so that you almost feel like you're falling off the back edge of the bolster. We want to use the bolster low down on the buttocks to spill the pelvic bowl backwards. And then from here, I'm going to have you reach out through the four corners of the mat. You reach your arms out through the top two corners, your legs out through the bottom two corners. Point through your toes, reach through your fingers, wiggle and writhe. Climb out of your skin suit. Like really. Try to evict yourselves. And then soften. Soften. Feel. Feeling the inner space that you're cultivating. And then from here, begin bringing your knees into your chest. And give them a hug. Bringing your knees into your chest, giving them a hug as best you can while keeping your head down on the mat so we don't stress the neck muscles. And then maybe a little rocking side to side to massage your sacrum. And then steady at center. Release your left foot to standing. And continue to draw your right knee deep into your chest. And as you draw your right knee deep into your chest, circle your right ankle. The knee is steady, so we've got stability and mobility. Stabilizing the leg to explore mobility in the ankle, to find that circle as best you can in the right ankle, and then reverse direction. Clearing any distortion from the ankle joint. Moving so slowly and sweetly, like that. Well done. Let go of what's happening in the ankle and interlace your fingers at the back of your thigh. And you're going to keep your thigh to your chest and just slowly straighten and bend that leg a few times just to get into the knee hinge. And just open and close that right leg, bend and straighten, keeping the thigh to the chest all the while. Maybe listening to the story of the meniscus grind. And then the next time you straighten your leg, let it straighten. You give a little pull on the thigh with the fingers, and then you push the leg into the hand, so you give yourself a little dynamic resistance. So push your leg into your hands and pull your hands into your leg as you point and flex through your skyward foot. Just a little dynamic resistance to woo our way into that right leg, into the story of the hammies, maybe the calf, the Achilles. And then after pointing and flexing several times just to feel your way in, steady with flexion. So as if you're standing on the ceiling evenly through the four corners of your right foot. And then you see, like, am I standing on the ceiling evenly through the four corners of this right foot? Do I need to draw the outside strike of the foot down a little bit, reach up through the inside strike, and feel my way into the habitual patterns of the muscles in my right leg? And see if I can create a little freedom. Just being here, breathing. And then continue standing evenly through the four corners of your right foot on the ceiling. And fist and fan your right toes. So don't change the orientation of the foot. Just fist and fan the toes. And clear distortion from the digits. And the next time you fist those toes, squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold, squeeze, 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 and then fan your digits. Open up the space between your toes. Open up the space between the 26 bones in your right foot. Spread them. Spread them, spread them, spread them. Look at whatever codependency is going on in those digits. See if you can separate them. Open them up. There, last little bit there of spreading the right foot, the right toes. And then release the intensity of that. Bend your right knee and grab hold of the outside of your right shin, your right foot. So you reach from the inside of the leg to grab the outside of the foot, and then you got it, reaching from the inside of the leg to grab the outside of the foot, making this a little bit easier. You're not alone. And then bending that right knee and letting it come alongside the waist. Yeah, like letting that right leg hug the trunk as best you can. There you go. And as you let that right leg hug the trunk to the best of your ability, you have a look up at that right foot. And are you still standing evenly on the ceiling through the four corners? Do you have someone that can assist you in perhaps standing? Yeah, beautiful. And then you'll notice perhaps the left leg wanting to flop open. You know, just let that left leg hug the midline. Left knee in line with the left hip. And then if you're so inspired, you may have plenty going on here, all right? But if you are so inspired, you can let that left leg go long. And it gets a little more honest. As that left leg hugs the midline, slight internal rotation of that left thigh. Yeah. Ever so slightly pointing out through the inside strike of that left foot. Yeah. And now this is very much like an inverted lunge. It is an inverted lunge. So we're really opening up the femoral triangle, opening up where the left leg meets the body, opening up the pathway through which lymph and blood flows. Wherever you're feeling this shape the most, that's where you're breathing. Shoulders down, collarbones in a wide smile. If you can, that left palm is skyward. Last couple of breaths here, really opening up wherever you can without forcing anything, right? We don't ever want to bully the body. Yeah. Beautiful. Well done, well done. And then releasing that right leg and letting it go long to find the left leg. Lengthening out through both legs, wiggling and writhing a little bit. If you're so inspired, arms can go long overhead and you hook your thumbs. And then hug the outer arm towards the inner. Hug the outer leg towards the inner and reach out through your fingers and your toes like you're a tube of human toothpaste. Coming out through the top and the bottom. Push your rib basket down, 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 down. Come out through the top and the bottom. A little bit more, a little bit longer. A little bit longer now. Hey, oh, hey, oh. Well done. And then release the arms. Slide your feet back to standing. And take a clearing breath. If you're sliding off your bolster at all, pull it a little bit towards you. And then keep your right knee in line with your right hip, right heel beneath the right knee, just stacking our bones for safety as you draw your left knee into your chest. Hug that left knee in. Low back, I love you. Low back, I thank you for all the support. Just being kind and gentle with our internal dialogue. Being incredibly generous with ourselves as we then start to circle around the left ankle. Move very slowly, continuing to hug the knee into the chest. And just feeling, is this really a circle that I'm doing? And if not, curious, what is it? And how can I guide it in the direction of a circle? There's often a tremendous amount of distortion in the ankle that we're not even aware of, especially if you ever participated in sports or were a dancer. And then after 3 or 4 times in one direction, you release and go in the opposite direction and get curious about that. And then once you've cleared out the ankle with your circles, interlace your fingers behind the left hamstring and hug that left thigh to your heart. And keep a firm connection thigh to chest as you straighten and bend that leg a few times, just feeling your way into the knee hinge. Once again, just continuing to explore joint mobility. I can hear that meniscus. Or whatever it is. And that's why we're here. And then next time your leg fully extends, claim that length with a little bit of enthusiasm. So pulling the thigh, yet pushing the thigh away. So pushing and pulling for a little dynamic resistance as you point and flex through your skyward foot. And we point and flex just to feel our way into the extension of the leg. next time that you find your foot is in flexion, this is to say you're reaching up through your heel and drawing your toes towards your nose, start standing evenly on the ceiling through the left foot, through the inside and outside strike of the heel, the mound of the big toe, the mound of the pinky toe. Find your way, and then breathe into the root system of your left leg. And then maintain this as you fist and fan your left toes. So again, try not to change the orientation of the foot as you squeeze your toes into a fist and open them, fan them. Fist and fan, and fist and fan. Next time you squeeze those toes into a fist, keep it, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then fan your toes. Create as much space as you can between the digits. Open up the space between the piggy pig pigs. See if you can feel this spreading open, the bones in the foot, creating space throughout the entire foot width. Last little bit, opening up that left foot, the portal, the prana panel of your left foot that greets the earth with each step. It welcomes her energy up into your body. We want to make sure that portal is open. And then soften the intensity of that. You're going to begin to bend your left leg and reach from the inside of your left knee to grab hold of the outside of your foot and come into half happy baby. Or in some practices it's known as saddle. Half happy baby here. And once again, just mindful that that right knee is not flopping open. Collarbones in a wide smile, shoulders down, and just working that left knee alongside your left rib basket towards the floor. As if you could just lay it down, right? Wink, wink. Breathing into whatever your body is offering the shape, and whatever the shape is offering your body. This is yoga, coming into union. Be generous with your breath. And then as if from the first side, if and when you're so inspired, you let that right leg go long. Check in and see that you have permission to do so. And as that right leg goes long, you really let that right thigh be incredibly heavy. A nice internal rotation with that right thigh, rolling the outer thigh towards the inner and reaching out through the inside strike of that right foot all the way through the big toe. So we're just finding that portal up through the inside strike of that right hip bone, all the way out through the inside strike of the right big toe. All the while, this left thigh is coming down, and we're opening up. Just opening ourselves up, or perhaps being opened up. This is what love feels like. This is what love looks like. Keep the pose out of your face. If the pose has arrived in your face, chances are you could back off effort a little bit. Back off of effort and drop into your breath a little more deeply. In yoga, if effort must be applied, it's the effort of bringing our awareness to how we're needed in this moment. How are you most needed? Stay curious, stay generous, and be guided by compassion. All right, last couple of breaths here. And then slowly begin to release your left foot. Release your left foot to standing and let it go long. The left leg goes long to join the right. Wiggle and writhe. And again, interlace those thumbs overhead if you can, if your shoulders allow. Otherwise, find the length of your being in whatever way your body allows you to find that expression. If you can, hug the midline. So bringing your legs together, your arms towards each other, outer arm hugging the inner arm, outer leg hugging the inner leg, and we lengthen, 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 lengthen out. Feel this all the way through the inside strike of your hip bones, maybe on up into your psoas. Get long. All right, and then the full Monty. Slide your feet to standing, and then come into full happy baby. So bringing your knees in towards your armpits, reaching from the insides of your legs to grab the outsides of your shins, or your ankles, or your feet, whatever you can grab hold of. It may even be that you grab hold down onto your thighs. So again, meet your body where it is. Be honest. Be compassionate. And then feel what it's like to really pull down on the outside strikes of the feet. Yeah, that's where it's going to happen. Pulling down on the outside strikes of the feet. And then if you've fallen off your bolster, it's okay. It's no problem. Whether you're on your bolster or not, just give a little rocking side to side, massaging the sacrum. Yeah, pulling on the outside strike of your right foot to wobble to the right, left foot wobble to the left, weebles wobble. And then spill your pelvic bowl backwards and see if you can take this up your spine in the direction of the back door of your heart. Spilling the pelvic bowl backwards, coming up towards thoracic spine as best you can, and then lowering back down from whence you began, coming back into traditional happy baby for a last breath or two here. And then release the outsides of your feet as you slowly bring your feet to kiss one the other. Bringing your feet into prayer position. Reach your arms through the insides of your legs to grab the back sides of your ankles. And see if as your feet come into prayer position, you can gently pull this down towards your body, pulling this configuration down towards the pelvis and using your forearms to push your inner thighs away from one another, really opening up the floor of the pelvis and the contents of the pelvic bowl. And imagine that you could breathe from your pelvic floor. Imagine. Just flooding the pelvic floor with fresh new blood, oxygen, and nutrients. Well done. And then from here, releasing your feet to the floor. And once again, the legs go long. And one last time, you hug the midline with the arms long overhead, the legs long beyond, hooking your thumbs, and coming out through the top and the bottom with great enthusiasm. Great enthusiasm. Yeah. Last little bit. Well done. And then from here, release your arms. And then slide your feet to standing. And just with your hands, push your bolster out from beyond your buttocks. Just push it towards your feet. And then once you're no longer on the bolster, use your feet to just push your bolster away. So you don't have to pick your head up per se, perhaps. You can just use your feet to push your bolster away. And there you go. And then your right arm is going to go long overhead. And you're going to roll over onto your right side. And then continue on bellyward. Roll onto your belly. And as you roll onto your belly, I'm going to have you slide your palms up underneath your shoulders and lift your upper body just enough to look out at your right arm as you take your right arm straight out to your right. So you're still resting on your ribs. You're still on the floor. Right arm is coming straight out to the right. There you go. Open up your right hand. And then with your left hand underneath your left shoulder, roll over onto your right side as best you can, walking your right hand away from you, rolling onto your right side, and resting your head on the floor if you comfortably can, getting a little bit of a stretch to the neck. But if it's not okay, you can always slide a blanket or a bolster up underneath your head Do you need anything underneath your head?
I'm okay.
You're okay. So what's happening here is the right arm is back behind you, and as the right arm is back behind you, the right palm is wide open, and you're opening up the place where the right arm meets the body. You're opening up the pectoral window. So really spreading open your right hand onto the right edge of your body, left hand in front of you for support. For those of you who want to, that left arm can go straight up towards the ceiling, if you are so inclined and have balance. The left arm can go up towards the ceiling and you reach out through the left thumb, spreading your collarbones really wide. But don't feel obliged to do this if your shoulders aren't happy about it, all right? So we're just doing something like this, all right? Something like a great big, I love you this much. Spreading your arms as wide apart as you can. You just happen to have the floor beneath that right arm, giving a little bit of sincerity to the experience. Yeah? Left leg is long and gently falling back behind you. So you're getting a nice little opening where the left leg meets the body as well, without stressing the low back. So if you feel that you're ending up in your low back at all, spill your pelvic bowl backwards, pull your navel towards your spine. And then we're getting an opening of the left femoral triangle and the right pectoral window for a last breath or two. And then if your left arm is up, slowly release it down. And release the shape, let your left hip close back off towards the floor, and go back bellyward. And as you go bellyward, let your arms, spine, comfort wherever they want to be. If you can, palms are face down to continue giving an external rotation. Your cheek is to the side. You pick a side, and if it doesn't work for you to have your cheek to the side, once again, stack your hands and rest your forehead on the back of stacked hands. And then feel the honesty of this moment. If you need to, wag your tail a little bit to clear any distortion. Anything that might not be super comfy going on in your spine, in your low back, in your sacrum, wherever it may be. And then take a few clearing breaths. Some housekeeping. Inhale directly into your sensation. Exhale, create space. Your cheek is to one side and you haven't taken it to the second side. Let that happen. And then forehead is to the earth. Hands slide up underneath the shoulders. And you're just going to push yourself up enough. Lift your head, lift your upper body just enough to let that left arm go long. Left arm goes long, perpendicular to your body, perpendicular to your mat, straight out to the side. Right hand underneath the right shoulder, and you roll over onto your left side. Slowly walking that left arm away from you as you need to, so that you're not hemmed up in the shoulder at all. And if you can, and the head just rests on the floor, you get the support you need if you need it. That right leg is fully extended. And then falling back behind you. And so, you ultimately, as we began our practice, want to be in one nice long line. So you may find that your left hip is falling back a little bit. Let's bring this left hip a little bit forward. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Right hand is down for support. Head in line with the rest of the spine, which sometimes means lifting the chin a little bit. And really opening up that left hand, spreading the left thumb, and then finding your way into what the right arm wants to do. Shoulders away from the ears. Yeah. Shoulder blades moving towards the spine, really opening up, spreading the wings of the heart. As Helen Reddy says, spread your loving arms across the land. Imagine you were opening up to embrace the entire world. 'Cause what the world needs now is love. sweet love. So, share your love. Shoulders down. Opening up where the arm meets the body, where the leg meets the body. Giving a little twist to the spine. This is yummy. There's a good ROI. Not too much effort. Gravity's doing the most of it here. Alright, open up your breath. Last little bit. Dirga Swasam. And then, if your right arm is on high, lengthen as you lower that right arm down. Releasing the shape as you close your right hip back off towards the floor. Once again, going bellyward. Finding the orientation that is best for your neck. Finding wherever your arms want to be most comfortably. Pause. Breathe. Notice. Wag your tail if you need to. Deep breath in. Deeper breath out. And from here, bring your forehead to the earth. Slide your palms up underneath your shoulders with your fingertips facing forward. And then from here, slide your hands as far back towards your waist as you can, continuing with the orientation of your fingertips towards the front of your mat. And you're just going back as far as you can while you can still have your wrist touch the mat. So the wrist still gently reaching towards touching the mat. And you'll feel this is taking your shoulders away from your ears. And then let your elbows look for one another at your back. And once again, feel this taking your shoulders away from your ears. Feel your collarbones spreading wide on the front of your body and the shoulder blades hugging the spine on the back of your body. You start to feel the length of your neck here perhaps. And then let your legs go long, really lengthening out through one leg and then the other leg, claiming the full length of your legs and bringing them together, reaching out through your toes. So your shoulders are moving back through your elbows are moving back towards your heels, your upper buttocks tissue is moving back towards your heels. You gently lift your navel towards your spine, really claim the real estate of your low back here. And then lift your head up off the mat just enough to clear the mat. Just enough to clear the mat. And then reach the crown of your head towards the wall in front of you and the toes towards the wall behind you. And then slowly roll your forehead skyward. Your nose, your chin. Let your gaze go towards your hairline. And keep tucking your arms back behind you. Tuck your elbows. And a few breaths here. Don't come up any higher than you can maintain the quality of your breath. We really want to open up the apex of the lungs. This is awareness in the upper thoracic spine, the upper back, the neck, the shoulders. The last couple of breaths here. Really opening ourselves up to life. So easy to shut down in trying times. Can we keep that heart high, victorious? One last inhalation, rising like a phoenix up out of the ashes. And then lengthen as you lower, forehead to the earth, and push back into the pose of a child. As you push your buttocks back towards your heels, separate your knees as much as they want to be. And perhaps slide a bolster in between your thighs if you have one, so that this can be a sustainable place of comfort and rest. And you just want to feel the sitting bones dropping down towards the heels. You're just opening up the kidney band from your bottom ribs there to your waistband. Kidneys tucked up underneath those bottom ribs. Just spread it all open and then breathe into that kidney band. Breathing just up underneath the bottom lip of the rib basket. And let your arms do whatever they want to do. They can be long out in front of you. You can use them to find a little bit more depth in the pose. And If it's okay, you can have your cheek to a side, or once again, stack your hands, let your forehead rest on them. Find the orientation that is most kind to your neck. And back into yourselves and breathe. Come home to you. These postures are never meant to be a performance. They're the opportunity to experience ourselves, to inquire, to get curious about where am I needed now, and how can I respond with loving kindness. Right. Last few breaths into the back lung tissue. Really breathe into the back body, as if your back body were a turtle shell. Paint the inside of the turtle shell with your breath, generously. And get curious, what color is the paint? It's kind of fun, huh? What is your paint job like? Get as creative as you want to. This last little bit of time of painting the inside of your turtle shell. And then slide your hands up underneath your shoulders. And forehead to center. And slowly post off of your points of contact as you roll up vertebra by vertebra. Now, some of you who I know and love dearly, being in child's pose is not super great on your knees. So I would encourage you to do everything that we just did in child's pose on your back. All right? You just lay on your back and hug your knees into your chest. So child's pose can take whatever orientation it needs to. Face down, face up. And as you roll on up to seated, take a moment at the top. A moment to arrive. And then work your way to seated at the front of your bolster. And as you work your way to seated at the front of your bolster, get as much support as you need so that you're not having to work from the hip flexors to hold this position. So remember, we stack things underneath our knees. Most of us are under home quarantine here, doing our part to be part of the solution by staying home. So use whatever props you have available to you. Get creative. And then once you've found your way, reach wide rim to rim. Reach your arms out wide rim to rim. Palms face down. Lengthen, 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 and then let your fingertips float down to the floor. Fingertips float down to the floor or in the direction of the floor. And you feel the length of your neck once again, reaching up through the crown, down through the shoulders, out through the fingertips, and then draw your chin deep into the notch of the throat. Heart high, shoulders low, and then gently nod no. No more tension. No more dis-ease. Just clearing the cervical spine from ear to ear along the back side, moving slowly, mindfully. And then steady with your chin in the center of the chest. Deep breath in. Deeper breath out. On an inhalation, roll the right ear to the right shoulder. And as you roll the right ear to the right shoulder, just take a moment to release the weight of the skull. So those neck muscles work so very hard to keep us from being a bobblehead. And that when we tell them just to let go and release, they're like, you really don't want me to do that. And so give them a moment to loosen. And then we gently nod a sideways yes. Loosen the grip of the lateral neck. Feel the space from the left ear to the left shoulder to the left fingertips. And just let these movements take you where you're needed. Find the juiciest place available to you and then pause there. A breath or two into that juicy place. Just gently untying the knots. And then chin to chest, face cast downward. Pause at center for a clearing breath. On an inhalation, left ear to left shoulder. And a moment just to hang there, letting the head hang off the vine of the neck. Use your breath to soften. And then once you feel your body softening and giving you permission to go a little bit deeper, then you take your sideways yes. Using your right ear to dust the ceiling, your left ear to dust the shoulders, so to speak. Getting curious with the range, going as far back as you comfortably can, as far forward as you comfortably can. Just flirting with limitations respectfully to find a really juicy place, and then pause there for a clearing breath or two. Soft tongue, soft jaw. And then chin to chest, face cast downward. Take your clearing breath at center. Inhale, right ear to right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest, face cast downward. Inhale, left ear to left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest, face cast downward. And continue through your half neck rolls. Just letting your breath and gravity create a little bit of fluidity in the neck, perhaps in our ability to see things from all perspectives with a little more ease. And then the next time the chin is at center, pause, head cast downward. And then slowly begin stacking your cervical vertebra bone by bone, rolling up your cervical spine until your chin comes parallel to the floor. So just rolling up until your eyes arrive on the horizon, chin parallel to the floor, and then take your hands to your breastplate. Press in and pull down on your sternum as you slowly begin to take your gaze skyward. Wiggle and writhe on your way. Let it be a bit of a serpentine movement, pulling that sternum down as the south end of the stretch, as the anchor, as your chin finds the north end of the stretch. And then when you've come into full extension, be sure that you're within your range of comfort. And then stop with a full extension in your cervical spine from chin to sternum. And then open your mouth and do big jaw circles a few times in each direction. Really opening up the pathway for lymph in the throat, in the neck. Big jaw circles. After a couple times in one direction, move into the other direction. Feel this throughout the neck cuff, throughout the jawline. And then steady that movement, press down on your sternum, and a last little bit of arcing a rainbow in the sky up above you. Mouth is closed, and you're just arcing that rainbow, feeling this from jawline to collarbones. Well done. And then steady that movement. Bring your chin parallel to the floor. Release your arms. Let them find comfort. Take a clearing breath for your entire neck and throat, your jaw. Just pause for a moment and feel the effects of your practice. And then as you pause to feel the effects of your practice, you feel your body. And you feel, well, what would be the ideal shape for Shavasana? And then you begin to organize in that direction. So laying down with any and all support that you need underneath you. And for those of you familiar, you can take Viparita Karani, legs up the wall. I always encourage a little bolster up under the knees if you have any lower back tenderness. And there's always belly Shavasana. If anything we've done through the practice today felt like home to you, like something you want to return to and just soften into, let that shape arrive. So as best you can, let this shape reveal itself beyond the intellect. Trust the wisdom of the body. And then once you have found that shape, soften everywhere. Allow the top to melt into the bottom, the bottom to spill out all over the floor, whatever your orientation is to space. Just seek the lowest level. Liquid body, liquid bones. Soft tongue, soft jaw, soft eyes. The space between the eyes is soft. The space between the ears is softer. Open the valve on the back of the head and let this be the exit for any extraneous mental constructs that may arrive. The nature of the mind is to plan and to strategize. It's okay. Just open the back door and let it all go. Like clouds floating by in the sky. Just let it go. And bring your awareness to the center of your chest. To the heart that beats and the heart that loves. And just allow your awareness to rest there. Being a witness to the greatest show on earth. Life choosing you with each involuntary beat of the heart, with each involuntary breath. Life choosing you. And not taking a moment of it for granted. Stay present to the breath, the heartbeat, and let everything else dissolve. Keep yourselves good company. I invite you to continue to drop deeper and deeper into this space. The world needs our stillness, evidently. The world needs a little bit more contemplative introspection, perhaps. She's giving us time for that. The world definitely needs more awareness on the heart, the ability to love and receive love. So continue dropping in, doing our part. And I'm simply going to bathe you in the closing prayers. And you stay in Shavasana until it takes you into meditation or perhaps a sweet nap. And when it's time to come out, continue to be guided by the yoga wisdom. Continue to move with a clear seeing, calm abiding as you take your practice out into the world. Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And may the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. And may the light of truth overcome all darkness. Victory to that light. Jai Shri Satguru Maharaj Ki Jai. May we be good, may we do good, may we love all, may we serve all. Namaste.